the Arizona Wildcats beat the Missouri Tigers. Final score: Arizona Wildcats 72 to the Missouri Tigers 53. A couple of things that were really cool to me was, one was Jackson-Cartwright. I don't know why. I just like that guy. I want to see him make big impressions on the team. Score bunches of points and just be somebody that really is a big contributor. I think he only scored, was it 2 points a night, but and he had 3 personal fouls, but he made his contribution. He made a couple of assists, not as 2 assists, not as many as T.J. McConnell, the other point guard. T.J. McConnell had, I think it was 9 assists, which is fantastic, the amount of assists that he had, and T.J. McConnell also had 3 steals. So that's something that I'm kind of looking forward to with Jackson-Cartwright, is the amount of steals, because he is such a tiny guy. He's so little and he's so fast. I imagine that he would get quite a few steals. He had 2 steals tonight, so he is making his mark. And like I said, T.J. McConnell had 3 steals, and Stanley Johnson had 3 steals. There was a monster dunk that Stanley Johnson got from one of his steals, so that was pretty awesome. I'm talking about, Stanley Johnson is kind of a freshman this year, and Jackson-Cartwright is a freshman this year. Speaking of other newcomers that are up and coming and good contributors, is Dusan Ristic, and he didn't. I mean, he had 7 points tonight, and he knocked down one of it. He shot a 3-pointer, which is I don't know. I guess I missed that or something like that. But he made his 3-pointer. He's going to be a good contributor, a good post player, a good post contributor, and I think that it's not going to be very long that he's going to follow in the footsteps of Caleb Tarczewski. I don't know if Caleb Tarczewski is putting him under his wing, as far as teaching him, well, don't do this, but do this, and this way you won't get called for a foul, and you don't do this, and then you'll be safe, and but you do this, and then you'll be able to get the ball easier, and get an assist, or things like that. But Dusan Ristic it's nice to see another. I think he's 7 feet also. It's nice to see another 7-footer get in there and make contribute to make a big difference. He only played for 8 minutes, but he scored 7 points, so that's not too bad at all. Let's see. Caleb Tarczewski played for, I think it was 28 minutes, and he had was it 7 points also. So but the thing about it is Caleb Tarczewski is trying to up his game, because he unfortunately he fouled out in this game, and he tried to make more of an impact in this game, and I think that he sees Dusan Rustic as somebody that is not only good, but somebody that is getting close to competing for time, for play time, and I I think that's kind of making Caleb Tarczewski play a little bit harder, and that's one of the reasons I think why he fouled out tonight. Another guy that plays way down in the key, but plays pretty strong and actually knocks down some of those 15 or 18 pointers or 18 foot um, shots from the outside is Brendan Ashley. Um, he's having a really nice. He's making a really nice contribution, and he actually had 15 points tonight. He was let's see. Well, him and Andre Hollis-Jefferson actually scored for the highest amount of points for the high scorers tonight. So they both made very, nice contributions. It's kind of interesting that Caleb. It's kind of interesting that Rondé Hollis-Jefferson scored 15 points because I thought just by looking at Rondé Hollis-Jefferson and the way he played tonight, I thought that he kind of had a down night, but 4 for 4 from free throw land, and he knocked down a 3-pointer, um, and I think it was 5 for 6 from field goal percentage. So he did very good as far as turnovers. The Wildcats had a really small amount of turnovers, and I think that is something that is going to make um, Sean Miller, the coach for the Arizona Wildcats, very happy, is because we only had, I think, what do we have, 6 turnovers, or was it 8 turnovers? 6. I think it was 6 turnovers. And let's see, the Missouri Tigers, they had they had a ton of turnovers. They had 17 turnovers. So quite a bit of turnovers. One of the big contributors, well, a couple of the big contributors for the Missouri Tigers are Gil Caesar and Schamberger. I think those guys are the ones that, because the commentators were saying that they contribute almost 50% of the points for the Missouri Tigers. But one of them, I actually think it was Gil Caesar. He screwed up his knee a little bit tonight, so that knocked him in a hole, and he was only able to get 13 points tonight. He did have I think he did. I mean, he was the highest scorer for the for the Missouri Tigers, but I think they just got worn down, and they couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it anymore. They couldn't handle the pressure from the Arizona Wildcats, and ooh, speaking of coming off kind of slow, the Arizona Wildcats were 0 for 8 from 3-point land right in the beginning, and finally they started to kind of get their groove on, and they made the next two 3-pointers, and then in the first half, and then in the second half, then they shot 3 for 6 from 3-point land. So they were able to pull it together somewhat and end up with about 31% from 3-point land, which is not too bad. You want 33%, which would be the best, but 31% is not too bad. And they were playing the Arizona Wildcats were able to lock down defense very well on the outside shooters of the Missouri Tigers, and so they were able to defend very well against the three-point attempts from the Missouri Tigers, and the Missouri Tigers were only able to get they only were able to shoot 23%. Well, they made 3 of their three-pointers, and the Wildcats made 5 of their three-pointers, so that made a little bit of difference. The reason why it was so close, and actually the Missouri Tigers were ahead quite a bit of the game, or just it was very close game for quite a bit of the first half, was because the Arizona Wildcats shot so many three-pointers and none of them went in. So that was that was a killer to the Arizona Wildcats. We didn't do too bad. The Arizona Wildcats didn't do too bad tonight. They shot 76% from free throws, and that's very good. Usually, a lot of times, what I've seen this season is somewhere in the 60s, in the low 60s, or maybe the 50s percentage as far as free throws. But they shot 76%, and that is average. That's above average, I think. It'll be interesting to see what Sean Miller says that the team needs to work on. They just the only thing that I can see is that they do need to work on is just teamwork, working together. It just seemed it seemed like a lot of individual ball tonight, and that makes me a little bit nervous. But I think they pulled out. They almost won by 20 points. So the individual ball works a little bit for the Arizona Wildcats because they are so talented. That's why they are able to knock down these teams like the Missouri Tigers. The one thing I wanted to look at real quick was the offensive rebounds. Caleb Tarczewski had 3 offensive rebounds. The next guy that had the most offensive rebounds was Stanley Johnson. That would be something that the offensive rebounds would be something that I would like to see Dusan Ristic get more of offensive rebounds. But like I said, this is his. What is this? I think this is his freshman year, so it's kind of expected. He only had 2 total rebounds, so but like I said, he only played 8 minutes of the game. The only guy that played less minutes of the game was Greg Victor. So we got 20. There was one other thing that we got. The Arizona Wildcats got out rebounded tonight, and I think I think that is something that Sean Miller is going to harp on. Is the Wildcats just didn't get it done as far as rebounding. I think they should have had more of an advantage. The Arizona Wildcats should have had more of an advantage and should have been able to get more rebounds, but they didn't. So I think that is something that Sean Miller's going to have to, going to yell at the Wildcats a little bit to work more on. But the next game for the Arizona Wildcats, I think, is against Florida, or not Florida State, but Kansas State tomorrow. So the Arizona Wildcats don't have really a whole lot of time to prepare to get their rebounding much better by tomorrow, but that's probably something that they need to work on. Everything else they did pretty good. like I said, the turnovers really, really low, which was fantastic. And Brendan Ashley did a wonderful job tonight. So anyway, the Arizona Wildcats win this game against the Missouri Tigers. The Arizona Wildcats final score: Arizona Wildcats 72 to the Missouri Tigers 53.